Good morning, TikTok. Good morning, Instagram. Good morning, Facebook. And good morning, YouTube. Good morning. You guys come on in. You guys share the live with your friends. And you never know who this could be useful for. So certainly share it and they can take the information in as it is useful. Hopefully, it helps them make the right decisions today. I want to talk about a win that we had out of LA, Los Angeles yesterday. And I'm going to do a whole video on that case because that was a case that could have easily fallen through the cracks. But with the way I fight for my clients, that wasn't going to happen under my watch. And so we were able to hold USCIS accountable and get things moving. Thank you for joining, everyone. If this is your first time, I am Kiki, your fierce and fabulous immigration attorney. Thanks for tapping in. If you're a regular, hey. And then I want to talk about, I've been getting a lot of clients telling me, I've been getting a lot of notifications from USCIS saying that someone called in about their cases. It's not us. It's not the clients. So it must be their abusive spouses calling in to sabotage. So I'm going to talk about what to do if you find yourself in that situation. Okay? Guys, as you're coming in, let me know where you're tapping in from, what you're doing. What your questions are and what your situation is if you are comfortable sharing that. So let's talk about when your spouse contacts USCIS. What should you do? What can you do? Well, the truth is, if you do not have a VAWA petition pending, then you're a little bit more at risk if your spouse calls USCIS if they have an application pending for you. So say you have an I-130 application pending and your spouse decides to contact USCIS to cancel that petition, to withdraw that petition. If you don't have the VAWA petition fallback, good morning, Virginia, then you're left with nothing. If USCIS, if they move quickly and they terminate your I-130 petition, thank you, Baba Zizu, then your I-485 would ultimately be denied because it's based on your I-130. However, if we've already informed USCIS, and this is what we always do in our cases that go from an I-130 to an I-360, as soon as you hire us, we are informing your local field office, National Benefit Center, ASAP, that, hey, there's a domestic situation going on. The spouse of our client is trying to sabotage their process. They are threatening deportation, threatening to call USCIS, threatening to call immigration. So please be aware that, one, do not share any information with anyone other than us. And two, that this is part of the sabotage. So for you, if you're watching this and that's what you're concerned about, if you have an I-360 already pending, or you have an attorney that's preparing, that has sent in a letter of abeyance, meaning basically telling USCIS to hold the application, don't panic, because we've already stated this is part of the abuse, this is part of the control, this is part of the manipulation. They know, they understand. However, if you don't have anything pending and you have not hired a lawyer to send a letter of abeyance, then you could be more at risk because there's nothing for them to fall back on. Someone calls in, they're like, cancel the I-130 because they are the petitioner. Oh, you guys says like, okay, I guess you have nothing else to fall back on. So make sure that if you are realizing that your spouse is abusive, guys, hold on one second. I need to send an email. I'm sorry. Sorry guys. You guys listen, life does not stop because I'm on live, okay? I gotta put out fires, I gotta do things, so I have to send that email really, really quick. But anyway, so that is that. So do not panic. Make sure you hire a knowledgeable fierce attorney that's going to represent you if your spouse is already kind of, showing signs of wanting to withdraw their petition, using it to dangle it in your face, this is what I have over you, etc. So, guys, ask me your questions if you are concerned about how your case is supposed to flow from an I-130 where your spouse had initially petitioned for you, but now they are abusive and using that to control you. They're getting money from you, demanding that you give them money. Good morning, James Rosie. I am doing good. How are you? How are you this morning? So if your spouse has now transitioned into this asshole and a monster, guys, I can say this because let me tell you that the things that I see, the way humans that are supposed to love others treat each other, not each other, how the one spouse treats the other because the other person does not have legal status and they know that it's terrifying. It's terrifying to be in this country undocumented. It's terrifying to know that you may not have a future without your legal status. It's very, very disheartening. And for them to take advantage of someone who finds themselves in a vulnerable situation like that is really douchebaggery. That's not how you treat people that you love. Okay, guys, so let me talk about a win that we had yesterday out of LA. So a client hired me pandemic, right? End of the pandemic. So like October of 2020, to do their Liberian green card application. This client had been in the United States since 1980 or 82, came as a child, he was adopted, has lived in this country undocumented. How many years? I don't know, almost 40 years, right? A really, really long time, more than 40 years, a really long time. So finally, the Liberian green card became available, and he qualified. We filed everything, basically a pretty simple application, to be honest. The Liberian green card did not require much, so we filed it. Everything was smooth up until the interview. So an interview was scheduled at the end of June. He took his letter. So for all my clients out of state, if you want me to come to your state, I am happy to fly to come for your interview. However, if you don't want to take on that cost of paying for my flights and my hotel, I am happy to represent you by phone at no additional charge. It's worked for hundreds of cases. It's not a problem. I just say, call me, I'm on the phone, I can hear everything, I can interject, and I can speak up on your behalf. I have no problems with that. Anyway, he showed up to this interview with his telephonic appearance request and gave it to the officer. The officer goes, we're not calling your lawyer. You don't need your lawyer. And so he's like, oh, well, that's not what my lawyer told me. He's like, well, we're not calling your lawyer. Turn your phone off. So I'm on the other end, all the way in Minneapolis, waiting on this call because on days when I have interviews for clients, I pretty much don't schedule anything else because I'm waiting because these interviews can take anywhere from 1 hour wait, 2, 3, 4, depending on what the field office is and how busy they are on that day. So I'm sitting here waiting on the call. I get nothing. I'm getting a little nervous. Nothing. Then he calls me and I go, what happened? He's like, oh my God, the interview's over. The officer would not let me call you. I asked him if I could call my attorney. He said no. And I go, excuse me, what? What do you mean you could not call your lawyer? And he said, yes, that's what he told me. He said that he asked me for my mom and that my mom was the only person I could call. And we eventually called my mom and he asked my mom a few questions. And then he made me sign something. I said, excuse me, you signed what? So immediately, and I'm going to post the text messages, y'all, because this is how I lawyer. I lawyer with fire and fierce. Maybe because I'm an immigrant and I get it. And I know what it feels like to be fucked over by the process. I know what that's like. I know what it's like to show up at a consulate with your family asking for a visa that's due to you because your father has been already granting your dependence and you're told no 3, 4, 5 times. So I sent an email I asked my colleagues for like a field office director in LA. I got some email addresses back. So I emailed the people, the powers that be over there. I did not get a response. And then I emailed again, and I got a response from someone who said, "Oh, here are the people you need to be contacting. I am a past supervisor." So I went ahead and I emailed those people. 2 weeks, no response. So I emailed them again. Because let me tell you one thing about me, I am extremely persistent, and you're going to give me an answer. And you're going to tell me what the problem is, why you, if you can't help me, why you can't help me, and you need to tell me who can help me. So I kept pushing and pushing, and then I remember putting out a post on LinkedIn and basically just calling out LA Field office on their bullshit. So magically, I got a response back. Not only did I get a response back, I got a phone call from the field supervisor in LA, and I was like, "Your officer was inappropriate. This officer is poorly trained. This is officer misconduct. My client came for his interview. I was not called. Violation of his rights." I laid it all out. And so then he said, "Well, I'm so sorry, blah, blah, blah. Well, maybe we can schedule another appointment, another interview in the next couple of months." I'm like, "No, we're not going to do the next couple of months. What we're going to do is get an appointment scheduled in the next week or so. Okay. So he said, "Okay, we'll see what we can do." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm sure you can. I'm pretty certain you can fit my client in, because now he's had to wait because your officer did not know what the hell he was doing." So my client got scheduled for an interview for July. I want to say July 20th or so. And at that interview, I was allowed to be on the phone. They asked him questions. He answered the questions. Ultimately, this was the result of me being persistent and pushing and pushing and pushing and not stopping, because we got a note in the mail after the first interview, and I'll post all this, saying, "Your case is being held for additional review. Check back in 90 days. 90 days would have been, let's see, June, July, August, September. For what? Why are we waiting 90 days? My client got his green card approved yesterday. He sent me a text, and he put a picture of his approval note. He goes, "Does this mean I'm good?" I'm like, "You're damn right, you're good. Like, you got your green card is approved, and your case could have easily fallen through the cracks. Like, easily. This is how cases fall through the cracks. Next thing you know, it's been 6 months, 12 months, and no one knows what's happening." The first officer did not understand how to adjudicate and how to process the Liberian green card, because my client's mother had previously filed an I-130 for him. So at the interview, he wasn't sure which one to move forward with. I'm like, "Well, hell, had you called me, I'd have told you, forget the I-130. Liberian green card all the way, because there's so many other benefits. He could naturalize immediately. It puts his residency all the way back to 1980. So this client now, as of today, is eligible for citizenship. Had they moved forward with the one for his mother, he would have needed a sponsor, and he would have had to wait 5 years. So that is my success victory story for today. I am so excited. And guys, I am going to share all the information about this case. I'm going to put screenshots of my email correspondence with the LA Field office, because I think this is really important, so you really understand how I work and how our team and how my office works. Okay, enough of me talking, y'all. What are your questions? What are your questions? What are your questions? What are your questions? I know you got questions. TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Oh, thank you, Umar Jakar. Thank you. Sending you love likewise, all the way from Nigeria. So, if you guys don't have any questions, I tell that story to say, don't just take what immigration tells you and just say, "Oh, okay, I guess I have to wait 90 days. No. When you hire an attorney who is confident, who is experienced, who knows the law, and who is ready to stop at nothing or anything or whatever. That's when you get results. When when we got the notice saying your case is being held for additional review, I go, for what? What additional review? 90 days, why? Why do we need 90 days? He's a Liberian citizen. He's been here since November 20th of 2014. No criminal background, nothing. Why do we have to wait? We're waiting even though your officer denied my client the right to his attorney. No, y'all messed up. No, we're gonna fix this right now. We're not gonna wait 90 days. We're not waiting. We're not even waiting 30 days. We're not. Okay, here's a question. Why is it keep USCIS full loan process application? Yeah, so USCIS, they've been going through there are a lot of reasons. I hate to keep saying COVID, but it is true. Like COVID really hit the federal government in a way where things just like the chain of events, everything is delayed. Also, apparently there was a contractor that the government hired to process employment authorization applications. I don't know what happened. They had some rah-rah, I don't know what happened, but I think the contractors bailed out. So then there were like these thousands and thousands and thousands of work EAD applications just sitting there because they did not have the additional staff to process them. Word on the street is they're good. They worked things out. Somebody got paid. Somebody's feeling better. And now they're back to processing these EAD applications. So hopefully things can move a little faster. I'll believe it when I see it. So, when it comes to processing times, I tell everyone, it's gotten to the point now where they're not even following their guidelines. I have an EAD in my office right now, and I have no problem sharing this. It's gone over processing times by 2 months, and I am fighting like hell. I'm contacting some of the nonprofit organizations that assist us with contacting USCIS. We're doing congressional inquiries. We're sending emails because, frankly, I don't know what the hell is taking them so long. Okay, we have a question on TikTok. I applied for citizenship and it gets denied for lack of good moral character. What should they say? So when you get denied for a lack of good moral character, it depends on what the denial is. I would have to take a look at it. But typically, when you apply for citizenship, you have to show good moral character for the last 5 years before applying. So if you have any arrests, any criminal convictions, anything like that may not necessarily put you in deportation, but question your good moral character, you're going to have to wait out that 5-year period and reapply after that 5-year period. And also, if you're on probation and the probation ended, you start to count the 5 years after you're off of probation. So unfortunately, that's how that is. Once you're out of the 5-year time frame, apply again. But what I always do for all my clients, I ask for good moral character letters. So because they can go back as far as they want. It's discretionary, right? So I ask for good moral character letters from people who know you, who respect you, who you've worked with, and for them to say, I know this person, they're a good person, they're a good family man, good family woman, community leader, business owner, a valuable member of our community, all those things. So even after your 5 years, do get the good moral character letters because those do really help. I currently have we have a case in our office, well, one of the cases where this person was an asylee. No, he was a refugee. And he applied for his green card and it was denied because they claimed he had all this criminal background, he just was not a good person. So we fought it with a lot of good moral character letters, testimonials from people who know that he's now a changed person. I mean, there were some issues of what appeared to be like familial disagreements. Cops are called. And so our argument is, yes, things happen, but this person is not who they were 10 years ago. So you have to make the argument. Okay? All right. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining F Neto 1725, Omo Phillips, Super Steph 1, King Lamide, Ajoke Awobola. So we have, let's see, someone's asking, how many letters from friends and family shall I submit? As many as you possibly can, but the key there is make sure the letters are not just letters, make sure that they're really taking time to talk about how they know you, to talk about the things that you've done, to talk about why you're deserving of this positive exercise of discretion. So I would say, to be honest, I'd rather have 5 solid letters from people who really know me and are going to take their time in talking about who I am and my accomplishments than 10 just like random bullshit. So 5 solid. Okay, can is denied prosecutorial discretion. Okay, so you look at denied prosecutorial even if government lawyer signed motion to dismiss, and prosecutorial discretion applies to pending. So basically, prosecutorial discretion just means the government attorney on ICE's side is deciding to terminate proceedings against you. And that means that your immigration case can now go back to the jurisdiction of USCIS. It's kind of hard to make out what your question is, but I'm just going to explain prosecutorial discretion for everyone who is watching. If you have a removal proceeding, a case in court, removal matter in court, and then that prevents you from filing, a 485 with USCIS, work permit with USCIS. If you have if your attorney asks the government attorney for PD and they approve it and they agree based on, your pending application, you don't have any criminal background, you're not a threat to public safety, not a threat to national security, then you're able to go ahead and file your petition with USCIS. I really hope that kind of answers your question. It was really hard for me to make out what the question really is. You're welcome, Marie Gal on TikTok. Okay, so let me see. Yeah, prosecutorial discretion can be if you have a pending I-130. Honestly, it varies, right? It varies on jurisdiction. It varies on how tough your ICE attorney is and how liberal or how flexible they are. We've had cases where we've asked for USCIS to terminate proceedings based on pending VAWA cases, and they've done it. We've had cases where we've asked to terminate proceedings on pending VAWA cases, and they have said no. We have cases in Texas, we have cases in Alabama, we have cases everywhere. So it really depends. If you're in a more liberal state, they're more willing to terminate based on pending. But certainly if the application is approved, more than likely, regardless of jurisdiction, they're probably going to terminate proceedings because now you're showing that you have a bona fide case that USCIS can go ahead and adjudicate and process for you. Oh, you're very welcome. Well, I certainly hope I never skip any questions. That's the goal. Guys, okay, I have a meeting at 10:30, so I have to hop off. Okay. All right, guys. So I'll see you guys back on here tomorrow. If I didn't get a chance to answer your question, send me a DM and I'll answer it tomorrow. Bye.